can do. I worry when certain of my constituents come up to me and they say, Mr. Lammy, what have you done for us? And the first thing I say, well, hang on a minute, what have you done for yourself? And too often in my constituency, I have to say, and I'm not, I was raised by a black woman, so I don't want to single out black men, but too often it's black men. And they say to me, what have you done for us? And I say, but which football class are you running in the park for under 11s? Which church group or youth group are you organising? Which Cub Scout are you running? What are you doing? It is about neighbourhood. It is about community. It is about that kind of aspiration. That's why I believe in Britain we need a national civic service. Not the army, but I want all of our young people from different backgrounds coming together and working and engaged in purposeful activity for a length of time. We need to rebuild nation in Britain over this next period. And we're seeing these terrible cuts, fast and deep, causing tremendous division. And when you see these protesters outside St. Paul's Cathedral or in Times Square in New York, remember that instinct to protest is part of the progressive family. It says something about the nature of our economy. And so I come back to that idea of freedom within the free market economy that has been the dominant theme of the 20th century. Our parties were formed to civilize capitalism, not to abolish it, but to civilize it. And it still needs civilizing. We are seeing huge inequalities open up in the developed world. If you're lucky enough to do one of the global jobs, work for a bank, an insurance company, become a footballer, competing on a global stage, you're going to be well remunerated. But if you are cleaning that bank, or you're doing security at that insurance firm, or you're the ball boy at that football club, how much are you earning? You see, in London, during those riots, what we saw was a traditional concern of progressive centre-left parties, the working class, except they weren't working. Because the new working class is the workless poor and the working poor, unable to make a living wage. And that needs to be the concern of a British Labour Party as we renew our ambition to civilise the ravages of capitalism despite all the gains, and as we park for a moment our liberal traditions and recognise that there are other traditions that we need to draw upon, because actually this time it's not about more rights, it's about more responsibility. Let me just end by telling you a little story. Kim used to come and, there was a need for good Caribbean food. And my mother was a good cook, and so she used to come by and eat. My mother was a great woman, as you would expect. In fact, I know that there are some great women in this room. I can tell, I know it. Whenever I'm in the company of strong black women, I say thank you for all that you are and continue to do. But very sadly, 3 years ago, my mother was losing her battle against ovarian cancer. And we were in the last month or so of her life. And she looked at me, and she had been ferociously reading every single newspaper every day and demanding that we bring these big newspapers into her hospice. And we would ask her what she was reading about, and she was reading about this young Senator, Barack Obama, who was running for the presidency. And she said to me, "I want you to go and see him." She was very proud that through her hard effort and her hard work, I managed to become the first black Briton to study at Harvard Law School. And there I came across Barack Obama. So I went. I took my whole office with me. Okay, that makes it sound really flash. I took 3 people with me. We hired a Jeep, and we had to go to Wisconsin. The snow was on the ground up to here. We drove through the snow to a place called Eau Claire, Wisconsin, for hours. And on the way, and this was, Barack at that stage was still running against Hillary Clinton, we sensed something. We'd stop in a Starbucks and people were talking about Barack Obama. We saw bumper stickers, African Americans for Barack Obama, nuclear physicists for Barack Obama, American Muslims for Barack Obama, nurses for Barack Obama, fighter fighters for Barack Obama. There was this sense of movement. And we got up to this hall that was, I would have thought a third the size of this one. And there he was in this college hall with these young people, talking and arguing for his ideas about the issues that we all believe on in the left, about work, about healthcare, about education. We were amidst a movement. And I know that when you get into government, that sense of movement is hard to keep momentum on. But it is so essential. It is the movement that founded this party in 1963. I'm told in a garage, just 3 people coming together, 3 or 4 with an idea, saying they want to do something. That's the same thing that propelled Barack Obama. It's the same thing that propelled my party back in 1909. A few people in a room, and then a few more, like this. We must never forget that we are a movement for change. We are not just a political party. It is a movement for change, for empowering people who lack power, for giving a sense of future and hope where there is none. And remember this, the progressive Labour tradition is always harder than our friends on the right. And I've seen that our friends on the right in Bermuda are rebranding. Oh yeah. We've seen the rebrands. I don't know yet if they're using that term compassionate conservative. But believe me, the compassionate usually gets dropped when you get into government. But But it's easier because you see, as we know, human nature is such that me, myself, and I is always easier than us. So we have to dig deeper. We have to try harder. We have to be bolder, firmer. And I think that you will surpass our achievement of 13 years. Thank you for inviting me here today.